What is up, Rams House? Thank you so much for tuning into today's stream. It's going to be an exciting one because we have our first guest here for this week to break down this Colts and Rams game, which figures to be a really exciting game. I gave my game preview that's edited down if you guys want to go check that out after this. But how much do I know as a Rams fan? I was only able to do my personal research. I have somebody who covers the team and who follows the team and is a big fan of the Colts who's going to help us out tonight to get a feel of what this team is and what to expect for this game. So I'm going to bring in Derek here from the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. Thank you so much, Derek, for making some time for us tonight. How's your day going?
I can't complain. It's another day closer to football, so I'm
Oh,
very
yeah.
excited.
Oh, yeah. Thank you again so much for jumping on the podcast. Anybody who's interested in checking out some Colts content, again, it's the Bring the Juice Colts podcast where you can find him and his co-host. I want to thank him again for spending the night with us. We're just going to start off with some general thoughts here on this Colts season. How's this Colts season been, man? 3-0? Like, you can't get much better than that.
Yeah, man. I mean, you really can't get much better than what it has been for the Indianapolis Colts. So you and I were talking off air, like how it was, how it's been with this Daniel Jones experience. And, it can't be better for Indiana fans right now. I mean, the overall vibe in Indy is crazy. Now, obviously I don't live in Indy right now, but, Indy sports in general is doing a fantastic job. The Colts are undefeated. The Indiana Fever are in the playoffs right now, trying to fight for a championship. Indiana Hoosiers are kicking butt right now, and the Indiana Pacers just came off of a finals run. So, I mean, right now, the vibe in Indiana for sports right now is just at an all-time high. And, the Colts are just one of the next teams to accomplish that. And I'm loving what I'm watching from this team right now. I mean, this is the Colts are doing stuff through the first 3 weeks that we have not seen in 15 years. Like, we're talking about going all the way back to the Peyton Manning years, like some of the really good Peyton Manning years. That's what this team is doing right now. Now, I'm not trying to insinuate that this team is led by Peyton Manning and is going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not insinuating that, just saying from the level of just domination and the yardage and the stats that they're putting up, it's stuff that a lot of Colts fans right now have not experienced in a long time.
Yeah, it's got to be exciting to be an Indiana sports fan there. And just like as an outsider looking in, like it's just so cool to see the Colts having the success that they're having. Obviously, I'm going to want my team to come out with a win this week, but this is definitely a team that like after we get done with the Colts, I'm going to be rooting for them the rest of the year and just see like where this story goes and where the season takes them for the season, just because it's really blown a lot of the minds of people. What were your expectations coming into this season, and what are your expectations kind of now?
Yeah, so obviously expectations of what to expect going forward versus what I had even just a month ago. I felt like, I mean, again, the Colts in 2024, we were 8-9, and we weren't a very good team. There was a lot of issues inside the building. A lot of people wanted our GM gone. And our previous owner, Jim Irsay, who passed away in June this year, ended up, giving Chris Ballard another chance and gave him one more run at it. And, Ballard has changed his philosophies, brought in some high profile, high caliber players like Cameron Bynum and Charvarius Ward into this building. Obviously brought in Daniel Jones, who they thought liked a lot and thought that could lead this offense in a different perspective. You drafted Tyler Warren and a couple other guys in here that have done some good things for you. And I mean, obviously, I didn't think much. I thought that I didn't know where this team would go, to be honest with you. I thought that they could go anywhere from winning maybe 5-6 games this year to, potentially only winning, or could potentially go to 10 or 11. It just depended on how the quarterback position went for them. And obviously now, after what you're seeing from them and how this team is operating, I feel anything less than 9 to 10 wins is an epic failure. I mean, the way that you're starting this season, again, I think a lot of people are trying to act like this game for the Indianapolis Colts is a make or break game for them. But I'm like, I don't understand that, because it's like, you lose this game anyway, you're still 3-1, and you're going to be facing a little bit easier of a schedule in the next 5 games that you have. You're going to be favored in at least 4 of them. So I don't really see this as a situation where one way, win or lose, I'm still going to feel pretty confident in the direction of this team as long as the Colts don't get blown out. Then, so expectations at the beginning of the year had very few. Honestly, I was happy with some of the stuff that Ballard has done, but I'm like, this is the end of the rope. If the Colts don't make the playoffs this year, then Ballard and Steichen need to go. Now, based on what we're seeing right now, the Colts are looking like they could potentially go to the playoffs, not only go to the playoffs, but actually somewhat contend for being one of the better teams in the NFL this year.
It is crazy just to see the dichotomy between the start of the season and now. Like, just as an outside fan, I was not expecting this. This is a game that I looked at coming into the year that I circled as an easy win. Obviously, you got to play the games. They're not played on paper, but I didn't expect this to happen. And it's just been crazy. Like, some of the stats that you mentioned about, like, just the crazy numbers that they're putting up, I found that they didn't punt at all in their first 2 games. The Colts didn't. They scored on every possession without a turnover in the first 2 games. Their offense still has 0 turnovers on the ground and in the air. They scored 41 last week, which was the most amount of points they put up since 2021. I believe they still only have 1 punt on the season.
Yep,
And
one
this is
punt on the season, and we have scored on 21 of 25 offensive possessions so far this year.
I should see, like, nobody would have expected that. Like, that's crazy for any offense.
Yes.
And so I don't know. This game definitely got a lot more interesting than a lot of fans were expecting heading into the season. And I'm with you there. I've seen even people in my own comments saying that, like, this is a must win for the Colts. And I don't personally understand that, just because, like you said, they dropped to 3-1. That's not terrible at all, to say the least. And that would be dropping to an NFC team. So it doesn't affect things as much as an AFC team once. So I think maybe they're talking more about, like, this is a litmus test to see, like, okay, how good is this team really? Because I'd argue that we're probably the best team that you guys have played thus far, right next to the Broncos. And
Yeah.
so it's definitely going to be a litmus test, but I don't think it's like a make or break game for them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this matchup right here is definitely going to be the biggest test that the Colts have had so far. I mean, not just from a record standpoint, but, I mean, the Broncos, I would argue they definitely have a better defense than you guys do. Not saying you guys have a bad defense, but Denver might have the best defense, if not a top 3 defense in the league. Their offense just at times is, still struggling. But I mean, again, what you saw against Denver, and the problem is the goalpost keeps moving. People keep trying to say they're trying to discredit the Colts so much that they're trying to say that Denver's defense isn't actually that good. And I'm like, quit lying to yourselves. Quit lying to yourselves and just say, I still don't have faith in the Colts, but they did actually do pretty good against a really good Denver Broncos defense. I mean, again, we only turned the ball over on downs twice in that game, and we had 7 offensive possessions. We scored on 5 of them. Okay, so, I mean, we were moving the ball easily down the field when it came to them. We got to their territory every single time. We just got stopped on turnover on downs a couple different times in that frame, but you still scored 29 points and put up nearly 500 yards of offense against a Denver defense that's that good. I mean, again, say what you want. You could say that the Colts schedule and everything that we've played, again, Miami hasn't won a game yet. Denver's only won 1 game so far, and the Tennessee Titans clearly haven't won a game yet. So yes, the combined record of the 3 teams we faced, 3 of those losses being us, is 1-8. I get it. But, like, again, it's not just the fact that the Indianapolis Colts are winning. We are dominating the majority of these games. I mean, we didn't cupcake with the Dolphins. We put them out of their misery early. The Tennessee Titans, the exact same way. And again, regardless how you feel about Denver, they have an elite defense. And
Yeah.
we did anything we wanted to them offensively when it came to that game. So, I mean, this is going to be a real true test, though, because, this is easily the best offense that we have faced yet. And I'm curious to see how our defense does, especially with some of the injuries that we may have on this defensive front right now. I'm curious to see how we hold up.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people, even like Rams fans heading into this game being like, I'm still not worried about the Colts because they haven't really played anybody real. And I just think that's like, obviously you can take that with a grain of salt, but that shouldn't be your argument, in my opinion, because what are the Colts supposed to do? They can't change their opponents in the first 3 weeks. And the way that they were winning is what was most impressive about it to me, especially like, yeah, they beat Tennessee and they put up all those points. Tennessee's not that good, but they're a divisional opponent, and those games usually are the weirder ones that are closer, usually low scoring. And so Colts have played the teams that are in front of them. That's all they can do, and they've looked really good doing it. They beat the Titans even more soundly than what we did. And so I think that you can't discredit what they've done just based on opponents for sure.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I want to get into the Daniel Jones conversation. I have my thoughts on him, and I have my thoughts on why things are working out so far. But I'm a Rams fan. I want to hear from your perspective why you think Daniel Jones is working so well in this Colts offense.
Man, I really wish I could tell you, because like if he was doing half as well as he is now, I could understand where it's coming from, but like I couldn't imagine Daniel Jones looking like a top 5 quarterback this year. And that's truly what is happening. I mean, Daniel Jones has looked like a top 5 quarterback this year. Every single metric tells you that.
Mhm.
And I mean, what is the most shocking aspect of Daniel Jones? So get this. I learned the stat today. His QB rating when under pressure this season is a 97.6. Fairly certain that's top 3. In his career prior to coming to Indy, his QBR was a 17 under pressure.
Jeez.
So it is astronomically different. It's not even in the same ballpark. So it's almost like it's not even the same player. So it's like people have been trying to grasp it. What has changed? Because it's not like Daniel Jones had an epiphany from Minnesota last year to now. I mean, I just think it's an accumulation of a lot of different things. One, I think it's just that the team and the environment that he's in right now is just better for him. He has a better offensive line. This is the best offensive line he's had by a long shot going into this. And I feel like that has installed some confidence in him that he can have time to make the throws that he feels he can do. He has a running back right now that is playing practically at the same level as Saquon Barkley was back when he was with the Giants. I mean, Jonathan Taylor right now looks like the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
You could argue him or Saquon right now. Both those guys are, going head to head right now. And then, of course, the weapons that he has. I mean, he's never had weapons like this. Michael Pittman, who, on his best day is one of the top 20 best wide receivers in the league. Alec Pierce that can catch anything deep. Tyler Warren, who you just drafted, who many people are saying is one of the most complete tight end prospects that's ever come into the NFL. And Josh Downs, who's a route running technician and just gets open all the time. So like he has this plethora of stuff that he can do. And the great thing is too, having a quarterback coach like Shane Steichen being your head coach that can dial up all these crazy concepts. But it's just like Daniel Jones is just locked in. He knows where he needs to go with the football. And I think he has extreme confidence that whatever throw he makes, the guys are going to make the play. He's going to have time to make the play, and the guys are going to make the play, which, I mean, that does insane things for a quarterback when they have confidence that whatever they do, it's going to be the right thing. And I mean, that's the only way I can think of it to how he's looked so drastically different. Now, obviously it's 3 games. We gotta watch as the season goes on. I mean, obviously things change. But I mean, just how efficient he's been, completing over 70% of his passes. And
Jeez.
he's like second in the NFL in yards and has no turnovers and has the third best QBR. I mean, this is just unprecedented, different level than even when he was with the Giants. I mean, obviously, we remember that year where he went to the playoffs in 2021, but even that year, I mean, he didn't look like this. I mean, he didn't
No.
quite look like this. Now, the touchdown numbers from a pass throwing perspective, I'm amazed that he hasn't had more. He does have 6 touchdowns on the year. Now, 3 of those being rushing touchdowns because that's kind of what's hurt Jonathan Taylor's numbers a little bit this year, is not getting those touchdown numbers. He has 3 touchdowns on the year, but all 3 of them came against the Titans because
Wow.
Daniel Jones steals all his touchdowns at the 1-yard line. And so, but I mean, it has been incredible to watch that this Colts team can consistently move the ball the way that it has. And it's mainly because Daniel Jones has just been so locked in, and it's crazy to watch.
It's very crazy to watch. I think the biggest thing that you hit on with why he's doing so well is confidence. And a quarterback playing with confidence, really any position, but if you can get them playing with confidence, most quarterbacks that enter the league and that are a starter or have been a starter have enough talent to be able to get the job done. It's usually the stuff that's going on in their head, and it's their confidence, how well they understand defenses, all of that stuff. Daniel Jones has that, and he has the talent, and you talked about the supporting cast he has, this being the best coach he's had, in my opinion, at least. All of that combined with just the confidence they're able to instill, even a guy who came from the Rams, Jared Goff, and went to the Lions. This guy, like, his confidence was at an all-time low in the last couple of years with us, and things were beginning to fall apart. But you go into that Lions organization with a guy like Dan Campbell just spewing confidence into Jared Goff, and now you look at where he is. So I think confidence is definitely a big thing. Situation is definitely a big thing. A lot of people just look at a player and their stats and assume that just tells the whole story, but the situation a lot of the times is what's behind and what's driving that. And so I think that's definitely the case with Daniel Jones here. Definitely not a guy to just overlook just because of his name.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to Daniel Jones, I mean, a lot of people are saying wait for the time that it just goes down, and it's like I don't think you can say that. I don't think that Daniel Jones is gonna have a comeback down to earth type thing. Now, I mean, do I think he's gonna be this efficient the entirety of the year? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's very hard to go 3 games straight, have no turnovers, 6 touchdowns in that span, and throw for almost 900 yards in those 3 games. It's hard to do. But I mean, the problem is that you have right now is everything is working for the Colts offense, everything. And when there's nothing going wrong, it's hard to say that an offense is all of a sudden just going to become stagnant, because when Daniel Jones can hit the reads that he's hitting right now, when you can run the football the way that you are, when you can block the way that you are, I mean, sure, he may have a bad game or so, but there's not going to be a stretch where he's just going to go completing 50% of his passes for less than 200 yards and have more interceptions and touchdowns. I think those days of Daniel Jones are over. Now, is he going to put up Josh Allen type numbers at times? I don't think he'll do that very often, but we don't need him to do that, though. With the way this offense is moving, you don't need Daniel Jones to be Lamar Jackson or to be Josh Allen. We said before, if he even just plays like an average quarterback, this team can win football games. They can win. They can be competitive. And right now, he's not just being an average quarterback. He's being a great quarterback. And when you have that, this team has the talent to be able to make it to the playoffs and then some.
That's the thing too with the Colts, is like they've had a good roster for a while now. When you look across the board on the offense and on the defense, I think the quarterback was one of the biggest things that was holding them down and making them not get a lot of the national media attention that they deserved, and how well built this roster is. So I definitely think that you have good points there. As we transition over just to the Colts offense in general, I've seen a lot of people say, because Jonathan Taylor has the most attempts out of any running back in the league, like rush attempts this year so far. I've seen a lot of people say that this, if you can't run the ball in this offense, that they're going to fall apart, or like you got to stop the run to make them be more vulnerable. What's your response to that?
Yeah, so when it comes to the whole Jonathan Taylor situation, again, nobody said that when Derrick Henry's been winning these Russian titles for the last 5 freaking years. Why all of a sudden does it discredit Jonathan Taylor in that regard? I mean, that's the point, is you shouldn't be discrediting someone for carrying the workload. That's the point. If we can go to a running back 60 times through the first 3 weeks and he is averaging dang near 6 yards a carry, why in the hell would we not give him those attempts? Why not? If you're going to get 5.5 to 6 yards every single time, why are we not running the football? It's just so strange to me to see people discredit a guy when it's like Jonathan Taylor has just been phenomenal this year. I mean, and not only has he been running the football at the best that he's looked since 2021, he has been a 3-down running back. And the problem that we've had in years past with Jonathan Taylor is his skill set went one way. He was just a running back. He just ran the ball. That was all he did well. Because he couldn't catch the ball out of the backfield very well for a while. He was dropping a lot of passes. And also, he was a liability in the pass blocking era. He wasn't a guy that you wanted on third downs. We put other running backs out there in addition to that because of that. And we even drafted a running back in that regard because of potentially that same problem. But this year, there is nothing that Jonathan Taylor hasn't done at an elite level. His vision is great. His speed is still top notch. His ability to break tackles. I mean, you probably saw it last week against the Titans.
Yeah.
That 46-yard run. That's what that guy does. He makes people miss, and he is impossible to bring down with just one guy. It's so hard to do. And then in addition to it, it's not just been the rushing out of the backfield. I mean, again, I can show you his receiving stats in his first 3 games. I mean, he's had 8 catches for almost 100 yards and a touchdown in addition to that. So, I mean, this isn't a guy that's just only being used in the run category. I mean, his when he had that 156-yard game against the Denver Broncos, he also had 2 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown in that one.
Wow.
So, I mean, he's being utilized in every way possible, and the pass blocking has become so good. I mean, he has taken that a step further. And it's no exaggeration to say that Jonathan Taylor right now might be the best running back in the NFL right now. It's either Saquon or it's Jonathan Taylor. And if you want to go based off the stats, Jonathan Taylor takes it pretty easily right now. So I love what Jonathan Taylor has been doing, and I don't discredit him at all. I mean, again, I don't care about his carries. That's how you get the yardage. And not everyone's Nick Chubb. Not everyone's Nick Chubb where they can have like the 5th or 6th lowest amount of carries ever and yet somehow still be top 5 in rushing yards. Not everyone averages 10 yards a carry like Nick Chubb does. That doesn't happen every time. So, I mean, I love what Jonathan Taylor's doing right now, and I hope he stays healthy, because that's been the big problem over the last several years is Jonathan Taylor has had stretches where he gets hurt, and he typically only plays 12, 13, maybe 14 games. But this is the best that Jonathan Taylor has looked since 2021. And if you don't remember that 2021 season, he led the league in rushing and was even had an MVP vote at one point. And he looks just as good now as he did back then. So if that's the Jonathan Taylor you're getting this year, other teams better watch out, because that guy's coming for you.
Yeah, he's insane. He's an insane talent. It's cool to see him reemerge into that conversation once again, because I remember that 2021 season just because selfishly I really wanted Cooper Kupp to get the Offensive Player of the Year that year, and he was battling. It was him and Jonathan Taylor. Those two were the crazy engines of the offense, in that 2021 season. So you don't think that, like, if a team is able to stop the run, I don't know if a team's been able to do that on the Colts yet. You
Nope.
don't think that that's going to affect their passing offense at all?
I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think that it will majorly impact them. I really don't think
Mm,
it will. I mean, even in the first game against Miami, where that was the worst game for Jonathan Taylor, and he had 18 carries for 71 yards. I mean,
mm,
it was about average. He wasn't doing anything crazy, but I mean, you saw what Daniel Jones was able to do against Miami, regardless of that. Now, I mean, how much different is it with a better defense? I don't know. And the only thing that sucks with this matchup is Alec Pierce will likely not be playing in this
yeah.
game of a concussion that he suffered in the last game. So that takes a drastic toll because Alec Pierce is not just a deep threat guy. I mean, his route tree has been improving,
Mm,
and he's a guy that on rundowns he blocks with some of the best of them. And
wow.
when you're 6'3" and you're 210 pounds and you have a 40-inch vertical, you are a matchup nightmare for any corner that goes against you. There's not a corner in this league that on a 50-50 ball can beat Alec Pierce at what he does. And when you don't have Alec Pierce for this type of game like this, it's going to be interesting to see how the Colts adjust to that. How many deep balls do they actually throw? What are they going to do? And how are they going to utilize Adonai Mitchell, who will likely
Mm,
be the replacement for him in this game? Because Josh Downs is your slot. Michael Pittman's going to be your one outside guy. And then Adonai Mitchell is going to have to probably be that deep route type of guy.
yeah.
How is that going to look with Daniel Jones? I don't know. It sucks that we don't have Alec Pierce for this one, but I think that just based on the bag that Steichen has going for him right now and the way the offensive line is blocking, I think that we could still utilize a pass attack, even if Jonathan Taylor is not playing at an all-pro level every Sunday.
Yeah. I think that's good points that you make there because no, any team that's running the ball super well against your team is typically going to win the game. Like if you're running the ball super well, that's not going to be the best, you know, recipe for success there. So one of my like key things for this week was stopping Jonathan Taylor enough and shutting him down as much as you can. I don't think you can completely stop him, but neutralize him as best you can and make Daniel Jones beat you, especially against such a good pass rush. But I was like, I wasn't sure if this offense was so predicated on the run game that it's like, if you don't have that, it's going to be kind of shaky results. But as far as Alec Pierce, I wasn't aware that he was going to miss this game until probably like 5 hours ago or so. That guy's a beast. Like I don't think he gets
Yes.
talked about enough. I feel like he's one of the more underrated receivers in the league.
He's the
And
best deep route wide receiver in the NFL for sure.
he's got great hands, like great contested catch winner. I
Yep.
didn't I didn't realize he was that good of a blocker too. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of translate with having like AD Mitchell in there. See how that all kind of translates because obviously they're not like a 1-to-1 comparison. But like you said, Shane Steichen is a good enough coach, good enough play caller where he should be able to adjust, adapt, and use the weapons he has,
Yeah.
even without Alec Pierce. But who knows what kind of impact he would have had on this game had he played. So speaking of that offensive line that you talked about with the pass protection, that's one of the biggest things I've heard from the Colts fans and from the Colts media is this is by far the best offensive line that Daniel Jones has had. They're great at pass protecting, and they're just gelling really well as a unit. I think a lot of the big media was talking about Ryan Kelly and Will Fries leaving in the offseason as like, their offensive line. Who knows what's going to happen? It was just all those kind of big storylines. What do you think has been the biggest reason that they've performed so well, if you have an answer for that?
Well, and another thing too, not even just the pass blocking, but like the way the Colts run the football, a lot of the run concepts they do, uh, with their zone run scheme that they have so many tight ends and athletic linemen that
Mm,
they can pull so many people so many different ways. It throws a lot of defenses off. So that's the creativity part of why Jonathan Taylor a lot of times gets these holes that he can run through because I mean, Nelson can pull. Gonsalves can pull. Either the tackles can pull. The center can freaking pull. And then you have 3 or 4 tight ends, Warren, Molly Cox, Drew Ogletree, that can pull anywhere and line up in any spot that they can do that. And one of the recent things we do, Pittman a lot of times will come down from outside, come down towards the line, and then chip block the edge down in, and then that just opens it up on the outside out on the C gap. So, I mean, it's creative the way that they attack it. And the offensive line, for the sake of Ryan Kelly and Will Fries, yeah, both those guys going to Minnesota. I mean, obviously, would have loved to have kept either one of them. But obviously, Ryan Kelly did not believe that the Indianapolis Colts were really going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And of course, Will Fries, I mean, we get paid dang near $20 million to play guard right now. We already got a $20 million guy at guard in Quentin Nelson. So we can't afford to pay both of them that. But see, here's the thing. What a lot of people thought was, oh, the Colts offensive line was going to regress a lot. When in reality, I was like, wait a minute. Last year, Will Fries played in 5 games because he got hurt. And then Ryan Kelly also only played in 8 games because he kept getting hurt. So those 2 guys already didn't play the majority of the year. So Tanner Bortolini, who's our center now, that had to replace Ryan Kelly, who we drafted just that last year. And then Matt Gonsalves, who we also just drafted that last year. Those 2 guys as rookies got experience very early. We didn't want to throw them in that situation, but they had to because we were down to injuries. But they did really good. And I don't know why people are so surprised, because in the last 5 or 6 games that Jonathan Taylor had, he was averaging like 137 yards a game running the football. And I'm like, why does everyone seem to think Tanner Bortolini and Matt Gonsalves can't handle the rock? I was wondering how they would do, like how would they progress throughout the year? Were they going to be the same? Would they maybe take a step back? But I was like, I have pretty much confidence in these guys because the Colts offense was moving very well at the end of the year in spite of those guys being injured. And so, I mean, to see that it has not only not regressed and not only has it not stayed the same, it looks like it's gotten better. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, it's one of the great things about Chris Ballard. If you know, anyone can never critique Ballard, but give him ever any praise, his ability to draft offensive linemen is top notch. I mean, every single person on this offensive line outside of Ryan Kelly over the last 5 or 6 years was drafted by Chris Ballard. And this offensive line for the last 6-7 years has been a top 5 offensive line without a doubt. So overall, I love what Tanner Bortolini and Matt Gonsalves have done in the interior. Now, another thing, too, to mention for injury's sake, Matt Gonsalves did not practice today. He actually had a walking boot on, has a toe injury right now, which I thought was a little weird because he did play the entirety of the Tennessee game, and there was never any injury news after the game about him. So makes me think that the walking boot thing might just be precautionary. Because, I mean, again, offensive linemen, you know, they have that stuff happen all the time. I'm not too worried about him playing. I would imagine he would be, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out for.
I think that's one of the biggest things that a GM can do is setting up the offensive line. A lot of people and a lot of organizations just neglect to address it and to even plan for the future. There's few ones that are actually able to find that talent and even plan ahead for when guys like Ryan Kelly and Will Fries end up leaving. So that logic definitely makes sense there. And they're definitely an offensive lineman that, like, I think it's just the whole offensive line against our defensive line is going to be a very good matchup because these are both big strengths of our team. So I'm excited to watch that. But what would you say on offense is the most underrated, not talked about Colt that we should look out for as Rams fans?
um, Probably Tyler Warren. And I think that a lot of people probably already know the name Tyler Warren because he's been getting some praise around the national media and from other guys around the league that were once players that understand the impact of a Tyler Warren. The last week against Tennessee, the amount of times that Tennessee's defense got baited into double teaming Tyler Warren on a simple curl route and it left somebody open 10, 15 yards behind him. That kind of stuff, that's impactful for Tyler Warren. The fact that he garners that much attention already as a rookie, 3 games into his career, just shows you what he was capable of. Again, that first 2 weeks, you saw he had 11 catches for 157 yards, was leading the NFL in yards for tight ends through the first 2 weeks. And that's the kind of guy that he is, man. I mean, he finds a way to get open and he makes plays after the catch. And the greatest part about him is you can line him up anywhere. He is a guy that can be lined up anywhere you put him. Heck, against Denver, we ran a full sail play with him lined up as a fullback. And he just full sailed out in between the offensive line, right down the middle of the field, fading out left. Daniel Jones hits him for a 45-yard gain. And it's just like what is this? Like, this is wild. And just to give you an understanding of how impactful he is and how much the Colts are actually utilizing him, because some people may think, oh, it's whatever. He's not going to really make much of an impact here. Last year, the Colts leading tight end in catches and yards was Kylan Granson last year, who had 17 catches for, I believe it was 213 yards last year. That's it. That's all he had. Tyler Warren this year has 14 catches for 193 yards. So he's almost matched that total in 3 games. And so Tyler Warren is going to be a focal point of the offense. He may not have been a huge focal point against the Titans, but if you go back and you watch that Dolphins game and you watch that Denver game, he was a very focal point in this offense. And he may be this week too, with given the fact that Alec Pierce is not going to be around. So they're going to have to hit a lot more of the underneath stuff and get more yards after the catch with guys like Warren. So be prepared for that.
Yeah, that guy's a crazy talent. Us Rams fans really wanted him. It was more of like a pipe dream that like hoping he'd fall enough. But
we thought he was a pipe dream for us, man.
Really? That's crazy.
When the Bears drafted Loveland, the anxiety that just spewed out of my body from that, I couldn't tell you. Like, everyone kept telling me that the Bears are going to draft Warren. And then when they drafted Loveland, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this guy's going to be an Indianapolis Colt. I can't believe it.
So. It's insane. It's crazy. Like, this guy is more than a tight end. And I think that's where a lot of people overlook him, is they see like the position label of a tight end and they're like, oh, like, don't have to worry about him too much. But to your point, he's very versatile and he can be used in so many different scenarios, even going back to his college days. Like, he was the offense of that offense. And so I don't know, that guy's going to be crazy because the Rams in particular too, over the last few years, aren't the best at defending tight ends, especially the top tier ones. Mm-hmm. And we did make an improvement at linebacker, bringing in Nate Landman from the Falcons, who's been really good, but he's still more of a run support guy than he is a pass coverage guy. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely keeping my eyes on him, especially all the different places you line him up. Was I mistaken in seeing that he was lined up at running back at one point? In one of the games, I could have sworn he was at running back.
He has been handed the ball a couple of times early in this year. Crazy. So, like, in short yardage situations. And, you know, I don't mind that at all. I mean, I love that. I love that you have a guy that's 6'6", 255 pounds, that's athletic enough that you can say, like, one-on-one, you're just not stopping the guy in front of you. You're just not, that guy in front of you is not doing that. And I love that situation. I love the fact that you have a guy that's not just a tight end. Like, he is a guy that he can catch the ball, he can block, he can run. There might even be a trick play in his future where he might throw a touchdown at some point, because that's what he was when he went to Penn State. He was originally going to be a quarterback. And even at Penn State last year, he did throw a touchdown for Penn State. So, I mean, again, the options for Tyler Warren is limitless. I mean, just whatever you want to do with someone like that, he has that ability.
Yeah, he definitely scares me, especially being that he's not the only weapon in this offense. There's so many ways that they can hurt you. And
Mhm.
again, Shane Steichen, great coach. I can't wait to see some of the things he draws up in this game. What would you say is going to be the biggest advantage that the Colts can take advantage of against the Rams this week? Like, as a Colts fan looking at our defense, what's one thing that you're like, oh, we got to attack that?
I don't know much about your defense, to be completely honest. I wish I'd been able to watch more games.
Hmm?
Um, I've only seen so much when it comes to that. Um, I mean, just the ultimate case that I just say for everything when it comes to it, you just got to be able to run the football. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that the Colts have consistently been able to do, regardless if it's a 150, 200-yard day or if it's a fringe 100-yard day for Jonathan Taylor. Fringe. Like, just still being committed to that and being able to commit to the run and convincing the Rams that the run is not going anywhere, that will just enable Daniel Jones to be able to hit more of those passes deeper down the
Mhm.
field, because the Rams aren't going to be able to sell out and keep everybody back. And that just makes your quarterback more comfortable knowing even if the run game isn't exploding, you're still committing to it and you're keeping the defense honest.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a big key for this game. The Rams' run defense has improved a lot thus far this year. Even last week, when you look at the Eagles game, we held Saquon Barkley to 46 yards on 18 carries, and that's a guy who killed us last year. Like, the improvements that we made with the linebacker Nate Landman that I talked about, really good run stuffer. That Troy Reader and Christian Roseboom were just not great against the run. But we also had a Puna Ford at defensive tackle who's really good at just making sure that he's keeping gap integrity, even shooting some of the gaps and getting the backfield. So I'm definitely going to be watching that as well, because any team, even if they, like you said, just stay committed, that can do enough to open up the offense. For me, knowing this Rams defense coming in against this Colts offense, who I know a little bit about, something I'm definitely worried about. And you don't have Alec Pierce this game, as we talked about. He was part of it, but is Michael Pittman and like a big physical, like bigger body kind of receiver. And that's what I was worried about with Alec Pierce as well. Because our cornerbacks outside of Emmanuel Forbes, who is our tallest corner, he's 6 feet tall. Everybody else is below 6 feet. And so these guys are pretty small. They've got a lot of heart, but they are pretty small. And we saw against AJ Brown last week, that was just not a great matchup. So as a Rams fan coming into this game, I am a little bit worried about Pittman and even AD Mitchell a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard. I mean, if even without Alec Pierce, who's 6'3", I mean, yeah, you're right. Pittman 6'4", AD Mitchell 6 foot. Outside of Josh Downs being short, Tyler Warren 6'6", Moali Cox is 6'5", Drew Ogletree 6'6". I mean, the size of the Indianapolis Colts at the weapons department is really big, and it definitely poses a lot of threats to defenses, especially with a quarterback that knows he can utilize that size.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was something that when the Colts played the Denver Broncos, they were targeting Pat Surtain, which is crazy to think about. You never want to challenge that guy. But when you have a receiver that's 6'4" that can box out guys like that, if you just put the ball where it needs to be, then you're going to get your catches here and there. So, I mean, I love that. And I think Daniel Jones just has confidence that the size of these guys is just better than what the defense has to throw at him.
Yeah, and the Colts are going to be trying to attack the secondary that we have, more so the cornerback room, just with the size discrepancy. What we saw against the Eagles last week, especially in that second half, like it looked like it was kids trying to guard AJ Brown at times, where he just boxing him out, breaking tackles. And a big reason for this, the Rams had a Kelly Witherspoon coming into the year, who is our biggest corner. I think he's like 6'3". He's got really long arms, good speed, but he broke his collarbone after the second week. And so the Rams weren't planning to have to make an adjustment with this. And now all the cornerbacks are very similar. We have a guy in Quentin Lake who plays safety, who actually can come up and play slot pretty well. and he's a little bit more lengthier, a little bit bigger. So that could be partially an answer, but I know the Colts are definitely going to attack that. So we're going to move over to the Colts defense here. I want to just start the conversation with Lou Anarumo, just because he's a guy that has a lot of my respect. My brother is a Bengals fan, and so I got to see him for most of his time with the Bengals.
Yeah.
I know he didn't have a great last year with the Bengals, but everything before that, like, this guy's a mastermind in my mind. And so your overall thoughts on this defense and Lou Anarumo?
Yeah, I think that the defense right now, it's had its share of injuries, which has really been unfortunate for us. And another big one is Kenny Moore won't be playing this game either, which is really unfortunate because he's our best corner. But yeah, I think the big difference this year in comparison to many, many, many years of Indianapolis Colts defenses is it's always been cover 2 or cover 3 zone. That's been the primary aspect of it. And the problem with those defenses is everything stays in front of you. So teams dissect that a lot. You're forcing teams to have to play the long game. Unfortunately, it doesn't result in a lot of turnovers. It doesn't result in a lot of opportunities like that. And so far, we have seen a Lou Anarumo defense be a lot more competitive, a lot more tenacious, and a lot more going after people. It worked very well against Miami. Denver, it didn't work out as well. We had a couple guys on the defense that were missing, which really sucked. And against the Titans, sure, the Titans scored 20, but obviously the Colts up by 3 touchdowns in the second half for the majority of the time. I think Lou Anarumo was just playing more conservative at that point because I didn't think that they thought that Tennessee was just going to be able to keep up with them offensively. But one thing that Cam Bynum, the safety for the Colts, said about Lou Anarumo on Pat McAfee's show today, and it's something that I think really resonates. Lou Anarumo holds everybody accountable, and that's the standard that we have to have. And to be completely honest with you, dude, I mean, in years past, people weren't being held accountable on the defense. Even last year, defensive players specifically, not just calling out defensive players, they were calling out offense players, they were calling out other people, but they were calling out their coaches. Like the most recent DC that we had, Gus Bradley, on 2 separate occasions, we had a player come out to the media and said, I don't like the way that things are going right now. Like from personnel standpoint to how we're running this defense and everything else, it is not working. And the people who are making these decisions are not being held accountable. And so when you have players saying that they don't agree with how your defense is being ran, you clearly have lost the plot. You clearly have lost the inability to lead these men into thinking that what they're doing is right. And Lou Anarumo is a complete 180. Like, they respect what he's doing, and they're being held accountable, and everything that they have going, and the amount of defensive turnover this year too, especially in the secondary, has been crazy to watch because they're getting all these corners that can run the type of defense that Lou Anarumo likes to run, which is always constantly changing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's been so pivotal is not only has Lou Anarumo come over here and changed the scheme, but the talent, the kind of talent that we have out here right now, it's much better than it's been in years past.
And that talent definitely makes a difference, but obviously it all starts with coaching. And if they're bought into the coaching, that makes a big difference there. I think something that I've always respected about Lou is he doesn't blitz all the time. He's not like a Brian Flores or like who's the Tampa Bay head coach?
I can't remember.
It's escaping my
name,
mind right
no.
now. Anyway, he really likes to blitz as well. Lou Anarumo doesn't like to blitz all the time, but when he does, every look is like different. You're gonna have a cornerback blitz, you're gonna have a linebacker blitz. It could be double A gap, it could be a safety coming off the edge. And that keeps offenses on their toes because you don't have like one look to be worried about. He's always changing it up, and then he's always using those simulated pressures as well. And I've just seen that personally between the games that we've played against him, that can come back to haunt an offense, especially if you're not ready for it. And the another thing I saw about him was that he really likes to change up his defense each week depending on the opponent that he's playing. And to me, that's a mark of a really good coach. It's like, okay, what is this offense doing? How am I going to take that away? I'm not going to stick to just, oh, I just like cover two, or oh, I just like cover three. Being able to adapt every week and change that up, really hone in on whatever he wants to stop, I think is what separates him from a lot of other defensive coordinators who are just stuck in their ways, like a Pete Carroll, who only does like a cover three. You know exactly what's going to come in. So definitely a lot of diversity coming in from his play calling, and he definitely adjusts each week very well for whoever he plays.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting. I'll tell you what, the one matchup that I am very nervous about if I'm a Colts fan for this matchup specifically. And I know a lot of people probably will say it because it's just the status quo at this point. But for us specifically, without Kenny Moore being there, Puka Nakua, I think that's going to be interesting there because, I would imagine that Charvarius Ward will likely be shadowing Devontae Adams for a good chunk of this game. I've seen your guys' numbers. Nakua and Adams are, neck and neck for receiving yards. Obviously, those are your two biggest targets, practically your only targets at this point, because that's all you really needed. But yeah, you got to be able to eliminate Devontae Adams. Now, obviously, he's not going to eliminate him altogether, but Charvarius Ward's one of the better corners out there. Can keep him contained for the most part. But my issue is, how in the heck are you going to hold down Nakua if Kenny Moore is not out there? That's going to be the big concern. Now, the Colts brought in Mike Hilton, who also is a veteran corner that, has had experience with this Lou Anarumo defense, was a corner for the Bengals when Lou Anarumo was there. So obviously has had some of that understanding and knowledge, but I don't think Mike Hilton's going to be a Kenny Moore. And I don't know. I don't know what Lou is going to do to try to hold him down, but I mean, that's going to be definitely a concern in your passing offense is how we're going to slow that guy down.
Yeah, because it's crazy. Even some of the better nickel corners haven't even been able to slow Nakua down. Like, he's just dominant. And part of it is just the connection with Stafford. Like, they just are always on the same page. So far with Devontae Adams, we've seen some big splash plays, and there's still a lot of volume targets going to him. But thus far in the season, because Stafford missed most of the training camp with a back injury, they weren't really able to establish a strong connection. They're kind of working out that connection on the fly. Devontae and Matthew Stafford are, to where, yeah, they've hit on their big plays and they've had some good numbers together. But like, I'm thinking mid-season, like they could really begin to get into a rhythm just because you've seen some misconnections. You've seen them just like flat out miss on certain plays. And so it's like, yeah, Devontae could be open, but Stafford may have thought he's doing one thing, or Stafford puts it in the right spot and Devontae just drops it. Like, they're still working out some of those things. Puka Nakua still leads the team in targets. Devontae Adams is right behind him as well. I do like the weapons we have behind them, but as you mentioned, that's all that we're going to right now. It feels like McVay just loves giving the ball to these two guys. So
that's all you have to do, man. If you got two great wideouts like that, why do you need to go to anyone else? Yeah, I was looking at the stats differences between, the Colts weapons and your guys' weapons. And, Nakua and Adams, they eclipse all the yardage that you guys have been getting versus the Colts. But I mean, the difference is the Colts spread the ball out a lot, which makes it difficult for defensive coordinators because you can't eliminate one guy, because if you eliminate one guy, then all the others are going to tune in and, they're going to get there. So it's hard to be able to handle that. And another thing that scares me with our defense. And again, I feel like for our defense's sake, I want to have more confidence in my defense than what I do right now. But ultimately, it's the PTSD of being a Colts fan, man. We've suffered so many bad years of defenses over the last several years. It's hard to imagine us being able to stop anything. And truly one of the only bad parts about this defense, I mean, our pass coverage has not been bad, but our run stopping ability has also been very bad. And I know you guys got Kyron Williams over there, and again, Williams, he's not a huge big play guy, but he's a guy that he gets those chunk yards.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's going to wear you down, and he's like Jonathan Taylor. He's a big, strong, athletic running back that is going to just wear a team down. And if he has to average 4 or 5 yards a carry to do it, it's what he's going to do. And that's what I'm concerned about, because this Colts defense stopping the run, I mean, we don't do very well at it. And if you watch the Broncos game, you'll know that. We definitely don't do a great job at stopping the run. Even last year, it was so bad. I said it last year. I'll throw a stat at you real quick that's hilarious. In the first 2 weeks in 2024, this Colts defense gave up 420 yards rushing in the first 2 weeks
Jeez.
of the season. Insane. It was like 100 yards more than the next closest team. I mean, we were trash. And so, I mean, obviously it's a little better this year right now, but there's always been one problem over the last few years with this Colts defense, and it has been that the Colts have been incapable of stopping the run consistently. And going into this matchup, the Colts are like 25th in pass rush rate and win rate. So, unless the Colts start dialing up a bunch of blitzes against Matt Stafford's going to have a hell of a day going around just dinking it and dunking it to wherever he wants to go, especially in the middle of the field, because our linebackers are trash at stopping the pass. So, I mean, I feel like I'm just basically saying absolutely terrible things about my defense right now. I mean, I spent the first 45 minutes talking about how great my offense is, and now I'm just saying everything that the defense does is trash. I mean, it's just hard, because I've seen, especially in 2023, we saw the Rams, they were just able to do whatever they wanted against us offensively. And, and because Matt Stafford's just such a great quarterback. I mean, obviously what we've seen, he's just a guy that just knows what to do with the football. And even if he's not mobile anymore, he's still just so good at getting it out. So I don't know. I don't know how this defensive match is going to look against you guys. I hope it looks better than what I'm expecting, but I truly do believe that this will be a slugfest. I really think that both these offenses are going to put up some good points.
Yeah, the more I look at it too, my initial prediction coming into this week was the Rams would win 27-20. But as the week's gone on and the more I learn about this team and like both teams as a whole, I'm thinking more like of an offensive shootout. And that's obviously fun. It's fun to watch those kinds of games. They can be stressful, especially if they're close. But
yeah,
it's interesting hearing everything about this defense so far, because when you just look at bare numbers and statistics alone, they don't rank all that badly. It's only been 3 games, but to hear this kind of perspective is interesting, especially for one thing that I really like about this Rams offense this year more than other years is they can both run the football and pass the football really well. So whatever any team tries to take away, you can kind of adjust if you're noticing it in game and just go to the other thing. Like last week against the Eagles, we were a very good defense. We put up 160 rushing yards between Blake Corum and Kyron Williams. And when they get moving, even with some of our linemen being out and in and out of lineups, they're rolling. But then the passing game, obviously, that's one of McVay's things. He loves to throw the football, even if the running game is working. Sometimes he can tend to abandon that running game and go to the air. And you got weapons there too. So that's kind of something I was thinking about with this matchup in particular. Whatever Lou is trying to take away, which I would think he'd be trying to put a lot of his attention on this passing attack, especially on like Puka Nacua, like you were talking about with Kenny Moore being out. And I'm like, okay, like if you try to do that, let's just go to the ground game. And hearing that the ground defense or the run defense isn't as good as what I thought heading into this, I mean, that makes it all the more intriguing to me. I think it would be more about making adjustments in this game more than just doing one thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got a couple more things here. We did it on the offensive side of the ball. Doing it on the defensive side here, what is the most underrated Colt that the Rams should know about heading into this game on the defensive side of the ball?
Probably would say Nick Cross, our safety. He's been one of our leading tacklers, and he's a guy that, a lot of times will play up along the line of scrimmage. He's a guy that Lou likes to use in blitz packages, and a guy that can just be thrown all over the field. Cam Bynum is more of that, guy that stalks the secondary, versus Nick Cross is a guy that, will come up and be a punisher in a different way. So Nick Cross, definitely a guy that Rams fans should keep an eye out for.
That's a pretty good one, because in these Colts conversations, a lot of people like those flashy players like Cam Bynum, who's getting the interceptions and getting the turnovers and creating all those fun celebrations as well. I think is cool, but Nick Cross is not getting talked about enough, and I think those versatile players on the defense can really bring a defense to the next level. So that's definitely an interesting one to look out for. I don't know if you can hear me well. The Wi-Fi is kind of going in and out.
Yeah, you're good. It was like 5 seconds. It was stagnant, but then
okay, we're good back. Just to finish it out here, the Colts win this game if
they don't turn the ball over. If they don't turn the ball over, I believe that our offense can continue to move down the field at enough of a pace that they're going to be able to keep up with anything your offense can keep up with. Because again, remember, we're averaging 35 points a game right now. And I'll give credit to the Rams. They're averaging 26 right now, which is definitely very good. But I mean, our offense is on another level at this moment. And as long as we don't turn the ball over, we're going to be in positions where we're going to be able to score.
I think that's a very good point here. It definitely is looking like it's going to be an offensive battle for sure in this game. It's going to be very fun to watch. I'm very curious to see from my side of things how the Rams defense responds this week, because they were actually playing like one of the top defenses in the league through the first 3 weeks of the season. Even against the Eagles at halftime, we were up 27-6. And that's like, as boring as the Eagles offense may be at times, like that's a Super Bowl offense that you held to 6 points in the entire first half. And things just started to fall apart. We were playing conservative on defense in that second half, kind of letting him move down the field. I don't think expecting the things to unravel the way things did, but to see, I think the Broncos at this moment in time have a more complete defense than the Rams do, just at every single level. But I would argue that the Rams pass rush is better than the Broncos pass rush is, just because you go from edge to edge and look at even in the interior, like these guys, even if not all of them have crazy sack numbers, like they are providing pressure. And I think it's more so going to be about our secondary, more so the cornerback room and how they hold up, than it is about like, can this Rams pass rush win? Because they are a very good pass rush.
Okay. And I'll tell you this. Daniel Jones only been sacked twice this year, but yet he has been blitzed on 65% of his dropbacks. Wow. So he's getting blitzed at a phenomenal rate, because with just 4, teams aren't able to gain pressure on him. I mean, it's been the case through the entirety of the year. I mean, Daniel Jones has had ample time when he's not getting blitzed. And even when he's getting blitzed, he's still making accurate throws. So, I mean, I know you guys definitely got a good pass rush. You'll definitely need to send blitz packages, because even as good as your pass rush might be, even with 4, you're not going to generate enough pressure to get Daniel Jones to be flustered. You're going to have to blitz.
That's the interesting thing, too, with that injury to Akella Witherspoon that I was talking about earlier, as in the cornerback room. The Rams through the first 2 weeks of the season weren't blitzing as much as they are now after that injury. And I think they're trying to force the issue and make the quarterback make the wrong decision. And I don't think their cornerback's going to hold up as long with just rushing 4, especially against an offensive line like this. And the Rams with Chris Shula at the defensive coordinator, he's honestly been my favorite defensive coordinator that the Rams have had under Sean McVay. He's just very creative. He sends a lot of exotic blitzes, a lot of different kinds of pressures, simulated pressures. And that's my favorite kind of thing. Like, I don't like defenses that are just like the bend but don't break. Like, yeah, we'll let you get down into the red zone, then we'll stop you.
That's been the Colts defensive motto for the last like 10 years. And it's not like that anymore.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see that because I do expect us to send a lot of pressure looks, a lot of blitzes, especially just to continue to test Daniel Jones as well as
Mhm.
he has played. I think the Rams are going to be trying to get pressure on him, trying to force the issue and make him make the mistake. But in the end, I changed my score prediction from earlier in the week when I did my game prediction from 27-20. I now have it being, of course, a Rams win, but I have it being 30-27 instead of
You
27-20. What are
literally
your
stole my
thoughts?
score. I'm just having
Really?
the Colts with the 30, and then
That's crazy. I mean,
and here
it's different teams. You can take it.
and the reason why I have it to where the Colts will get at least 27 is because there has not been a game yet this year where Schrader has not made at least 2 field goals in
Okay.
every game. So the Colts will definitely get at least 6 to 9 points out of Schrader in this game. Just ultimately, how many touchdowns can you keep the Colts from going into? Because I think Schrader had like 4 field goals or 5 field goals against Denver, and had 3 against the Dolphins, and then had 3 against or 2 against the Titans. So,
Wow. You must be a good fantasy kicker then, I'd
oh
imagine.
yeah, I have him. It's great. I love it. I even
I
said it.
love
I
it.
told you before. I told you before we went live. Is Schrader has more points contributed this year than the Texans' offense does all year,
That's
and
just
that's
crazy.
crazy to think about. That is crazy.
That is super crazy. But thanks again, man, just for discussing this game with me. Again, on short notice, I appreciate you being flexible enough to join me tonight. It was a great conversation. I learned a
Yeah,
lot about the Colts, and I hope all of you guys did as well. Again, Derek came from the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. If you guys want to go check him out and see his takes on this game. But once again, guys, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you for participating in the chat. I hope you guys all have a good night. Horns up and God bless.